on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Tonight, not required. Mahasangha of the Askiri and Malwatu chapters reject new constitution, including amendments. Twist in the tale. 3 girls who went missing from Kulunnawa surrenders to police. 1 of them and 3 others arrested. International ties. Pakistan Foreign Secretary pleased with bilateral discussions with Sri Lanka.
The message from Sri Lanka was very, very strong. The message from Pakistan was strong, very, very strong.
Turn of the tide. Minister Sagala Ratnayaka pleased about the port city.
There's no doubt that the port city will be the best piece of real estate in the entirety of South Asia.
And in international headlines, Massacre 65. Declassified documents reveal the US supported the political purge in Indonesia during the 1960s. Good evening to all our viewers across Sri Lanka and around the world, and thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm Mahesh Johnny. Our First at 9 coverage tonight begins with the country celebrating the Festival of Lights. The Deepavali festival, the Hindu festival of lights, falls today and is celebrated world over by devotees. It is also considered to be the most colourful festival of the Hindu religion.
Deepavali festival is celebrated annually in October on the day the moon is not visible. On that day, Hindu devotees light lamps and bring light, diminishing darkness. In the meantime, President Maithripala Sirisena, issuing a communique on the Deepavali day, said that when harmony has become essential for the existence not only for our country but also of the entire world, people should be totally committed to build a deep bond and mutual understanding based on coexistence and reconciliation, avoiding the divisions of race, religion and caste. He also wished Hindus in Sri Lanka and abroad happiness and prosperity. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe too, issuing a special statement, wishes this Deepavali to be the occasion to light 1,000 lamps in the hearts of the people and to drive away the darkness of hate, and it to be the opportunity to restore lives, rebuild relationships and pave the way for harmony and healing. Meanwhile, leader of the opposition R. Sambandhan, sending Deepavali greetings, said his prayers are that his people will be able to come out of their long suffering of being displaced, refugee life and issues of livelihood, and also for the success of the constitution making process, which will enable his people to live with dignity and in peace with the framework of an undivided, indivisible country.
Both chapters of the Siam sector says that the government's effort to prepare a new constitution is giving rise to issues among communities. The matter was voiced by the registrar of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Madhugama Dhammananda Thera, today following a discussion between the two sectors.
Working committee members of the Askiri and Malwatu chapters met at the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy this morning to discuss the government's plan to make a new constitution. The meeting was also attended by several laymen representing various sections of the society. Venerable Mahasangha spoke to media following the meeting.
We do not need a new constitution. We were told the unitary status is there and Buddhism will be given its due place, but nothing is there. This is an effort to give more powers to the provincial councils. Therefore, we do not need a new constitution. What we have is more than enough. We will request all to oppose this constitution-making process and we will call on the government to stop this. The country regressed because of late President J.R. Jayawardena's 13th Amendment. This is a crime. Furthermore, President's powers should remain as it is. Making a new constitution or bringing amendments to the constitution will create unnecessary issues among the ethnic communities. A division is already prevalent in society due to this constitutional process. This proposal will definitely affect the unitary status of the country. It will also divide the country into pieces. Therefore, the Mahasangha of both the Malwathu and Askiri chapters decided to tell the government to move ahead with the existing constitution. If we feel we need a new constitution, we will make a fresh request later. At present, we should keep away these proposals and work together for the development of the country. Calls were made by the Janata Vimukti Peramadu today requesting President Maithripala Sirisena to announce his stance on the executive presidency and to keep his promise made prior to the election. While addressing a media briefing held in Colombo today, Propaganda Secretary of the party, Vijitha Herath, insisted that the executive presidency should be abolished. We assure people that this country will not be divided. The fundamental thing is that the executive presidency should be abolished. The president came to power on the premise of abolishing the executive presidency. Whatever the opinion of the SLFP may be, he should now tell the country his opinion on the issue. We request him to fulfill the promise he made when the new constitution is being formulated. Most say that it was with the intervention of the president that the statements of Varadaraja Perumal were defeated. Under the 1978 constitution, the president is unable to do that. An abrupt bill was brought to parliament. With that bill, only the statement of Varadaraja Perumal was defeated.
Varadaraja Perumal prakasita pat karapu wenava rajya panade kalla e venas tattwa ඇති කරේ.
The Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government announces that Nuwara Eliya and Ambagamuwa Pradeshiya Sabhas in the Nuwara Eliya district will be divided into several other divisions. This decision is made based on the recommendations of a committee headed by the Chief Secretary of the Central Province. Discussions were conducted over the subject between Subject Minister Faisal Mustafa, Chairman of the Elections Commission Mahinda Deshapriya, local government representatives of the Central Province. The area, which comes under the purview of the Ambagamuwa Pradeshiya Sabha, will be divided in three, namely Ambagamuwa, Norwood and Maskeliya Pradeshiya Sabhas. The Nuwara Eliya Pradeshiya Sabha division will also be divided into three areas and will now come under the purview of Nuwara Eliya, Agarapathana and Kotavila Pradeshiya Sabhas. In other local stories, several proposals pertaining to the local government election, infrastructure development as well as trade and commerce were approved by the Cabinet of Ministers yesterday.
A proposal to amend existing election laws and to make new provisions to control unlimited spending of money on elections was approved by the Cabinet yesterday. The proposal, which was made by President Maithripala Sirisena, comes after it has been observed that spending without a limit on election by parties or individuals impacts the free will of the public. Several proposals made by the Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, partly Champika in infrastructure development, mainly on waste dumping in Palayagoda and several other locations, gained approval yesterday. In trade and investment, an agreement between Sri Lanka and South Korea on economic cooperation, mainly in the fields of trade relations, tourism and industrial cooperation, was also approved. It will be penned during President Maithripala Sirisena's tour to South Korea, scheduled for next month.
President Maithripala Sirisena emphasizes that further expansion in economic relations between Pakistan and Sri Lanka is required. He made the assertion when the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan, Tahmina Janjua, called on him at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday.
During a meeting with Foreign Secretary of Pakistan, Tahmina Janjua, President Maithripala Sirisena said Pakistan could invest in sugar and cement industries as there is a huge requirement for the commodities in Sri Lanka. Pakistan's Foreign Secretary assured that her country would continue to assist Sri Lanka while taking the economic and trade relationship between the two countries to a stronger level. President Sirisena said that Sri Lanka would extend support to Pakistan to hold the next summit of South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation and that it is important to strengthen SAARC to ensure regional cooperation. Pakistan's Foreign Secretary arrived in Colombo to lead the Pakistan delegation in the fifth round of the bilateral political consultations between the two countries. The fourth round of talks was held in August 2014 in Islamabad. Meanwhile, speaking at the launch of the Pakistan Alumni Society of Sri Lanka today, the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan, Tahmina Janjua, said that bilateral discussions between the two countries were successful.
The visit to Sri Lanka was absolutely very, very successful. I was delighted to have my 3-hour conversation with your Foreign Secretary. Also had the honor of meeting His Excellency, the President of Sri Lanka. The message from Sri Lanka was very, very strong. The message from Pakistan was strong, very, very strong, and underscoring the warmth and sincerity that exists for Sri Lanka in Pakistan, for the people, government, and Sri Lanka itself. So it was a very successful visit where we covered a whole gamut of bilateral relations, and we agreed that there were lots of areas where we could work together further.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe reveals that the government has to pay off 3 trillion rupees of debt within the next 2 years. He made the remark at an event held in North India today.
The event was the 43rd model village that was built under the current government on the public was held under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today. Ashokapura in North India, that covers an area of 43 acres, is the largest model village in the country.
We have to pay off 3 trillion rupees of debt in the next 2 years. This is a challenge and the public will have to bear its weight. But we have to make sure to pay off all of its debt so the next generation can be free from it. And on the 9th of November, the Finance Minister will take us through the 2018 budget as to how we can pay off all the debt and develop the country while giving relief to the public. Also in local stories, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa joined Deepavali celebrations at Vishnu Devalaya in Dehiwala this morning and addressed media afterward. During his brief statement to the media, he spoke on several subjects ranging from the elections to the bond issue.
අපි සූදානම් හැබැයි ජනවාරි 30 කියන එක විශ්වාස නැහැ. අපි විශාල ජයග්‍රහණයක් ලබා ගන්නවා. ඒක කිසි ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. අවසන් කරාට කියලා තියෙනවනේ අගමැතිවරයාගේ කැඳවීමට ඉඩ තියෙනවා කියලා. බලාගෙන ඉන්න ඕන. භක්තිකයන් සියලු දෙනාටම මගේ සුබ පැතුම්. හැබැයි තියෙනවා. එයාට උනත් සමනන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ මේ තියෙන ආර්ථිකයත් එක්ක.
Well, we have an update tonight on the 3 girls who went missing last Sunday. All 3 surrendered to the Vallampitiya and Gampa police stations today. The young mother, a male and another 2 women were arrested by the police.
19-year-old Maliti Vatsala, who is the mother of one, 15-year-old Charitra Chandrasekharan and 14-year-old Yasanti Madhushani, were reported missing since last Monday. Vallampitiya and Grand Pass police launched an island-wide search mission on Monday for the 3 girls who said they were leaving the house for shopping. It was in this backdrop that the Vallampitiya police received information last night regarding a 17-year-old male from Kolonava who might be involved. He was later questioned by the police and it was revealed that the individual is the 14-year-old Yasanti Madhushani's boyfriend. Meanwhile, Yasanti and the 19-year-old Maliti Vatsala surrendered to police this morning. The 14-year-old had told the police that she decided to run away from home last Saturday after her mother opposed a romantic relationship. The 19-year-old Maliti, meanwhile, had said that she and Chandrasekharan decided to leave with the 14-year-old Yasanti because Maliti spoke of committing suicide. They revealed that they left for Gampa by train and dined at a restaurant. The woman who runs the particular restaurant had agreed to host them at her house for 2 nights after they confided their situation to her. Meanwhile, police was tipped off on Charitra Chandrasekharan's whereabouts in the Gampa area. She later surrendered to police. Chandrasekharan had been put into employment at the house of a prominent politician's relative by the restaurant owner. Police then conducted a search of the house where the 3 individuals stayed during the past few days. Police also searched the house where the 15-year-old was employed.
We employed her for the few days until our servant returned. We wouldn't have otherwise. Then I received a call this morning from the lady who brought her in saying that this girl's mother had passed away. So I paid 2,000 rupees for the 2 days she worked and sent her away. She even signed a document saying she received money. She said she didn't know how to sign in Sinhala and I asked her to sing in whichever language she is familiar with.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Professor Lakshman Dissanayake says the university decided to shut down the Faculty of Arts at the University of Colombo indefinitely following a clash yesterday. 2 students who sustained injuries in the clash are currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Now with that, let's take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Area residents in Attalakalpitiya charged that several individuals have commenced planting coconut trees in Nelum River, which was once a lake but is dried up as a result of the drought. Residents in the area claim that although they filed a complaint with the Gram Seva officer and responsible officials, no action has been taken with regards to the matter. A tense situation erupted between the individuals responsible for planting coconut trees and residents at a protest held yesterday. The computer laboratory vested on the Idigolla Vijita Primary School in Gampaha is being wasted as there isn't enough electrical voltage to operate them. Parents are unhappy with the current state of the computer laboratory, which was set up at a cost of 2 million rupees. The remains of a whale washed ashore along the Kandakulya coastal belt in Putlam last evening. The whale was measured at 70 feet in length. The police raided a plot of marijuana in the Narangala Reserve, Kostlanda. Kostlanda police arrested one suspect while a stock of marijuana worth 5 million rupees was taken into custody.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
On to business news now. Minister of Law and Order and Southern Development, Sagala Ratnayaka, says that the first investment on the reclaimed land of the Colombo port city is expected to begin by middle of next year. He expressed these views addressing the first annual general meeting of Sri Lanka's Retailers Association in Colombo today.
The first investment on the reclaimed land is expected to begin by middle of next year. There's no doubt that the port city will be the best piece of real estate in the entirety of South Asia. The Colombo Financial Center will be based here. This will result in continued investment over the next 10 years as the city continues to be developed. To support this development further, roads will be developed. The connection to Marine Drive and the airport highway from the port city will also be built. Then we have Hambantota. With the joint venture, there will be further investment on the port. The industrial zone in Hambantota will start operations. We hope to start. The BOI is being revamped because with all of this that we want, all the investment we want, the BOI has to be revamped. This year, FDI has grown by 88% over last year. It is likely that the full year figure will cross $1 billion. Targets have been set for FDI and outside the G2G and the Hambantota investments. The BOI is targeting 1.6 billion for next year and in excess of 2 billion for 2019. Why I tell you all of this is again to say we are open for business as a country. We want you to now engage. Don't wait for government handouts and hand-holding.
The Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, says that Sri Lanka has a clear plan to manage its debt with proceeds of any divestment and privatisation to be used to repay loans the country has borrowed. He made these comments speaking to Reuters this week.
According to the data of Central Bank, $81 billion economy has to repay over $5 billion in the next 12 months, while the country has just over $7 billion in foreign exchange reserves. During an interview to Reuters in New York on the sidelines of an investor forum, Dr. Kumaraswamy told that, quote, "We don't see debt as a risk," unquote. The government further said that Sri Lanka is an outlier on debt metrics, but they have never missed a single debt repayment commitment and certainly don't intend to do that. He further stated, quote, "We feel we have a clear plan to manage the situation," unquote.
Well, as Sri Lanka's hotel industry grows, Colombo has seen a rapid growth of hotels. Most of them are gearing towards capturing this rapidly growing market of tourism. One such hotel is Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts. In India, there are only 2 Shangri-La hotels serving the whole of the subcontinent. However, in Sri Lanka, in just about a month to date, Shangri-La Hotels and Resorts will open the doors of their second brand new property in Colombo, welcoming guests to experience their hospitality from the heart. First at 9 is indeed the first to witness what's in offer. And our very own Katharina Chang met with the Vice President of the hotel, Timothy Wright, to discuss about the hotel industry in Sri Lanka and about their venture in this island. Here's the first of a 3-part series of her interview with the VP.
With 100 properties already scattered across the globe, Shangri-La, known for its quintessential hospitality, will open its 101st property in Colombo on the 16th of November. I met with the Vice President and General Manager of Shangri-La Colombo, Timothy Wright, to speak on the philosophy behind the luxury brand.
Shangri-La is all about what is beyond the beautiful chandeliers and the polished marble. We feel that our hospitality, the way we look after guests, the way we interact with each other is a key element of our our brand of hospitality, hospitality which comes from the heart. And I think, as a general manager for a number of years, frequently guests are making comments about their stay in the hotel, and usually it's about the staff. Usually it's about our colleagues and what they have done to make them feel comfortable and make them feel special.
So team, I heard that there are very special facilities in Shangri-La that it will be offered very soon. Maybe you'd like to show us around?
Well, yes, let's go this way.
Yes. Timothy, where are we right now? What's this location?
So this is one section of the Shangri-La ballroom. This ballroom is about 1,500 square meters, just a little more than 1,500 square meters, and can be divided into 3 parts.
Of course, Shangri-La Colombo is very different from Shangri-La Hambantota,
yes,
which is more of a laid-back destination.
Yes, yes.
And you all are continuing to expand.
Yes.
Why have you all chosen Sri Lanka as a potential destination for tourism?
I think after 30 years of conflict and a number of years since that conflict had ended, we realized that Sri Lanka was an opportunity, and our owners came to visit the island, fell in love with its charm, but also saw the potential for business and for growth. And as a result, they came and have invested considerable sums of money both in Hambantota and in Colombo. Hambantota is open for more than a year and is starting to gain some traction. Obviously, we're hoping that the accessibility into the airport, we'll start to see more flights that will make the southern part of the island more accessible to the leisure and to the MICE market as well.
But we've heard many reports saying that, with the very less flights that are experienced in Hambantota, as well as, especially in that airport, which is not functioning, and then we have the hotel obviously next door. Has it impacted investments in any way, and are you all actually working with the government to kind of, bring up tourism in the country?
Sure. I think now that there is starting to become, there is a gaining critical mass in Hambantota and the surrounding southern belt, I think we will see the viability of flights going into the airport in the south begin to make sense. At the moment, I don't think the numbers necessarily justify the increase in flights. However, I think we're hoping that with the development in the port, with the other hotels and resorts that are opening in the area, that airline companies will see the business sense of flights into the airport in the south.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Let's move on to international news now. Chinese President Xi Jinping opened a critical Communist Party Congress today with a pledge to build a modern socialist country that will never copy the political system of others and will remain open to the world. The twice-a-decade Congress will culminate with the selection of a new Politburo Standing Committee that is to rule China's 1.4 billion people for the next 5 years.
More than 2,000 delegates are attending the Communist Party Congress, which is taking place under tight security. The party is expected to unveil the new members of China's top decision-making body, which will steer the country. Chinese President Xi Jinping has been consolidating power and is expected to remain as party chief. Xi set out his vision and China's recent achievements in his 3-hour speech. China will relax market access for foreign investment and expand access to its service sector, as well as deepen market-oriented reforms of its exchange rate and financial system while strengthening state firms.
In a startling discovery, declassified documents recently released by the US shows that America knew people were being delivered for slaughter during a political purge in Indonesia during the 1960s. At least 500,000 people were killed between 1965 and 1966 after the army and local Muslim militia went on a rampage following an attempted coup. It was one of the worst massacres of the 20th century, but at the time, Washington remained silent. First at 9's Indi Vriamuatha has more from Jakarta, Indonesia.
The documents show US staff describing them in telegrams as slaughter and at times indiscriminate killings, exposing an intimate knowledge of the Indonesian army's operations to completely clean up the Communist Party and leftist groups. It is thought as many as 3 million could have lost their lives within a year. The violence, which was a taboo topic in Indonesia for almost 50 years and remains extremely sensitive even today, was unleashed after communists were accused of killing 6 generals at the end of September 1965.
For several decades, we got the information, the untruth information about what happened in 1965. So because of this document, I think we are now know what happened in the 1965. We are in the democratic era, so we have to deal with this information. And I think we can do the truth and reconciliation.
5 decades later, the contents of the US telegrams are chilling. According to one from US Embassy staff in East Java, dated 28 December 1965, quote, victims are taken out of populous areas before being killed and bodies are buried rather than thrown in river, unquote, as they had been previously. Well, many here in Indonesia believe that there should be larger dialogue on the revelations of these killings and how it has affected the history of this country and more so the future of Indonesia. Although there have been attempts to get the opinion of the society, including the military, on these revelations, they haven't been very encouraged about publicly commenting on this. In the meantime, efforts to celebrate the anniversary and seminar to mark the anniversary of the killings last month were shut down by violent demonstrations. In Indi Vriamuatha for First at 9 from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Also in international news, Spanish Deputy Prime Minister Soraya Sáenz de Santamaría says her country will move to suspend Catalonia's autonomy unless the region's leader drops his push for independence. Spanish Deputy Prime Minister gave the warning a day before a Spanish deadline to Charles Puigdemont was due to expire. Catalonia's government has insisted that it will not meet Madrid's demands in the wake of a dispute war on succession. There have been protests over the detention of 2 leaders of the separatist movement. Well, sports news is on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Other Derana 24/7.
On to sports now. The 10th consecutive defeat in one-day internationals is on the horizon for Sri Lanka, with a batting order capitulating in the 3rd one-day international against Pakistan in Abu Dhabi. Sri Lanka couldn't even bat out their 50 overs and were all out for 208 runs in 48.2 overs. In reply, Pakistan are currently 45 for no loss.
Captain Upul Taranga won the toss and opted to bat first. After an opening stand of 59, the highest partnership of the innings, opener Niroshan Dikwala departed, and with it, the floodgates opened. The middle order wickets fell at regular intervals. Skipper Tharanga was the only one to show some resistance with a knock of 61, the top individual score of the innings, with Thisara Pereira chipping in with 38 in the bottom order. Medium pacer Hassan Ali was the star with the ball, with 5 wickets for 34 in 10 overs for Pakistan to restrict Sri Lanka to 208 all out.
A bit of tennis. Maria Sharapova's return to her home event in Russia following a doping ban ended in defeat. She was knocked out of the first round of the Kremlin Cup yesterday in straight sets by Slovakia's Magdalena Rybarikova, 7-6, 6-4.
Sharapova looked tired and committed several unforced errors in the first round match as she was cheered on by a large crowd. Sharapova's first appearance at a home WTA event since 2007 came 2 days after she won her first WTA title in more than 2 years, the Tianjin Open. In Russia, Sharapova portrayed as a victim of what officials say is the unfair targeting of the country by international sports bodies that regulate anti-doping.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, Chang is at the Weather Centre with tomorrow's weather.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Now, temperatures for tomorrow are expected to vary between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius over the next 24 hours, with the highest temperatures recorded in the east. The low pressure zone is expected to continue in the southwest region of the island, moving inwards over the course of the day. The wet weather can be expected in Jaffna, Mannar, Trincomalee and Anuradhapura, as well as Puttalam and major cities in the western province. That is it from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city-by-city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7, and we certainly appreciate you spending part of your evening with us on First at 9. I'm Mahish Johnny and we will return tomorrow same time. We hope you can join us then. And before we go, we'd like to take you on a safari across some less visited sections of the Yala National Park, blocks 2 and 5, showcasing the beauty of this national treasure. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.